If you struggle with procrastination, if you feel like you struggle to remain disciplined, if you feel like you're not consistent, and if you feel like you struggle to manage your emotions, then you may want to give this video a watch. The reason why I say this is because I've actually received a response on a Google form I've got. You can actually find the link in the description of this video. And basically it's called Get Help with Your Problems. And so it's a free tool I've got. It's a free thing I'm doing where if you've got any kind of thing going on in your life and you would like some help with that, it's completely anonymous. You can fill it out, and whatever your question is, I'll give you an answer in the form of a video. And this is the very first response I've got on this form. And basically an individual, I don't know who they are, they're anonymous, they said, I'm facing difficulty in trading and being consistent, disciplined, and can't control my emotions. Also, I have a bad habit of procrastinating. If you make a video related to it, it would help me out a lot. And so I can definitely relate. I've gone through lots of phases, and this isn't just something I'm immune to and I don't do it. Of course, there's moments where I procrastinate. Of course, there's been times where I've been inconsistent and undisciplined. I'm sure everyone watching this, you can probably relate to this as well. And if you're judging yourself, if you're beating yourself up because you feel like you're not disciplined, you're not consistent, and you procrastinate a lot, here's a few reasons as to why you're probably doing that. So I'm just going to share my own experiences. Recently, I just finished a trip where I swam and swam around. It's called the Whitsundays. It's a beautiful part of Australia, and it was an awesome trip. And when I got back, I just kind of chilled out and I procrastinated a lot, and I perceived I didn't really have a lot of discipline, and I wasn't consistent in terms of my swimming like I was before, and I was really beating myself up. And I realized a few weeks later that I just didn't really have a meaningful goal or a meaningful reason why I should keep up with the swimming, hence why I stopped. And then because I was hoping or wishing that I would stay consistent with my swimming like I was before, I was going like 3 times a week and really going hard at it to prepare for this trip. Because I was comparing myself to how I was before, I was really judging myself and beating myself up, and I felt like I didn't have discipline. I was completely inconsistent because I wasn't going, and I was getting all emotional, and I perceived myself to be a procrastinator. And so the reason why we do all these things is because typically we don't have a meaningful reason why we should do those things. It's just not important enough to us. And recently I set myself a new goal. I had a new meaningful objective to pursue. And as soon as I had a big enough reason why I should go swimming, I started going swimming again. I've been a lot more disciplined. I've been a lot more focused and consistent. I've just got back from swimming today, and my emotions aren't running me, and I'm not really procrastinating as much. And so to relate this to you, whoever answers this question in terms of trading, I can probably bet that trading is just not that important enough to you at the moment. It might not be a high enough priority. So maybe be honest with yourself and look at, well, where are your priorities right now? Are there other bigger priorities? And maybe if trading is something you'd really like to do, it'll be having a look at the goals around trading and setting yourself a really meaningful goal where once you're clear and you know exactly what it is you'd love to achieve from trading, and you have a meaningful objective to pursue, you're probably going to notice a lot of that energy and that enthusiasm come alive, which can help you start taking those actions where you're going to notice you're going to be a lot more disciplined, and you're going to be a lot more consistent, and you're going to govern yourself a lot more where you're not going to be emotionally driven because you have something to pursue. So the first thing is just looking at, why are you wanting to trade? What's the end goal you're seeing? And it's having a big enough reason why. A lot of people have these goals around trading where they want to basically quit their jobs, but the reason why they're not putting enough energy and effort into trading, for example, is because maybe their job isn't that bad and they don't really have a big enough reason why they want to be a full-time trader. You want to have a goal related to trading which is so inspiring, it's so moving, you can't not think about it. When you have a goal which is so inspiring and meaningful to you, when it's related to trading, you'll notice a difference in your behavior as well. So that's just something to consider, is look at why you are wanting to trade and spend some time in terms of looking at the why behind it. And the more, I call it links, so the more benefits, the more reasons you see as to why you want to do something, the more likely you are to do it. So when I can see that there's all these benefits associated with doing an activity, I'm much more likely to take action. We don't move a muscle without a motive. And so when you can see how doing trading or doing whatever it is maybe you're procrastinating on, when you can see how that's going to serve you, how it's going to benefit you, and how it's going to help you get what you want, the more benefits you see with doing the activity, the more likely you are to do the activity and stick with it as well. So really, it's when things are high in your values, high in your priorities, you're much more disciplined, reliable, focused, consistent, and you're a lot more governed because it's just important enough to you. You don't need people to motivate you from your out, and you don't need people to crack the whip. You just naturally are all those things. And things which aren't important enough to you, that's where you're not as disciplined. That's where you're not as consistent. That's where you're a lot more emotional. You're much more likely to procrastinate because it's not important enough to you. So I hope that makes sense. But then some other things, specifically with procrastination, I found there's only 4 reasons why we procrastinate. One of those 4 reasons is what I basically said in the video. It's just not that important enough to you. And so when you get really inspired and you have a goal which is really meaningful, and trading's that thing which you can see is going to help you get what you want, if it's important enough to you, you'll figure out a way. When the why is big enough, the hows take care of themselves. So that's a big one to really focus on. But I found there's 3 other reasons why we procrastinate, which also can create the symptoms of lacking consistency, and you're sort of procrastinating, and you're a lot more emotional, and you need that discipline. A big one is you have a goal, but you perceive it to be too big. And so we procrastinate because that thing we're going afterwards, it's so big in our perception, it just overwhelms us, and we just basically don't do it because we just don't know where to start. It's too big to be achieved in our perception. And so an analogy I like to use is, well, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is you just do one bite at a time. And so an elephant is big, and if you try and tackle it all at once, well, you're going to think it's impossible in your perception, and hence why you're going to just probably procrastinate on doing the task. But if you chunked it into little tasks, and you just had one bite a day, and you just knew bit by bit by bit, bite by bite by bite, I will finish this elephant. You're going to be a lot more willing to take action on that, and you're not going to procrastinate as much because you're not going to be overwhelmed. It's more manageable. And so if you're procrastinating on trading, it's either you haven't chunked trading down into small enough bites in terms of like specific steps and things you can do on a daily basis. You might be having these expectations on yourself that you should be trading all day, you should be in front of the charts all day, and there's all these things you've got to do, and because it just seems like too much, you're probably overwhelming yourself, and because it's too much for you and it's not manageable enough for you, you're hesitating and you're procrastinating, and then because you're not doing those things, then you're judging yourself as lacking the discipline and not being consistent. So something to consider in terms of point 2 is whatever it is, and it might be too big, chunking down the amount of work you're doing. Start small, and just give yourself a little bit of time, but just do those things, do those small tasks, and just task by task by task, bite by bite by bite, in terms of the elephant. If you chunk it down, it's going to be more manageable and in your perception more achievable, and that's why you're much more likely to take action and then consistently take those actions and be disciplined. The third reason why we procrastinate, I found, is we actually don't have a game plan. We might be really clear on sort of what we want, but we don't know how to actually get what we want. So be honest with yourself. Do you have a game plan? Do you know exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing, or what it is to work on? Or do you have like a clear strategy to help you get, from where you are right now to where you want to be? From A to Z, it could be you're working in a job, you're not making any money from trading, and your end result is maybe quitting your job and being a full-time trader. Obviously define what that looks like. A to Z, what is Z? Be clear on that. But also, you can't go from A to Z straight away. Typically, there's B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, all the way to Z. So if you're not clear on those steps, what that looks like, and all those little mini goals in between the end goal, and you don't have a strategy to walk through all those, then of course you're going to procrastinate and you're going to hesitate. And then because you're doing that, you're going to beat yourself up, and you're just going to feel like you're not consistent because you just don't know what you're supposed to be doing to help you get what you want. I found the times where I've been most disciplined and just on fire in terms of with inspiration and motivation and just action is when I was so clear on what I wanted. It was so meaningful to me and I was just so moved to do it. But then I also had a very clear game plan on, okay, there are these big things I need to do to help me get what I want. And I got those big things and I chunked it down into little steps. When I chunked each of those things into small bite-sized steps to do on a daily basis, I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing. I was really clear on what I wanted, and I was really clear on what I needed to do to get there, and I just took action. So, maybe with you, are you clear on what it is supposed to be doing? And, what the main aspects are of trading and focusing on those main things to help you get what you want, which could look like technical analysis. Like, do you have a technical analysis strategy? Do you have a risk management strategy? Do you understand, like with psychology, how to govern your own emotions within trading? A journaling strategy, all these kind of things, back testing. Do you have strategies in place to help you get what you want? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know the game plan? And if you don't, it's figuring that out, maybe getting a mentor who can give you the strategy so that you have the game plan, you're clear on how you're going to get from A to Z. And so those are the three things. It's just clarity. Is it important enough to you? Is the goal chunked down? Do you have a chunked down goal and it's manageable in your perception? And then do you have a game plan? Are you crystal clear on how to get what you want? Those are three things. And then I found the last thing and why we procrastinate sometimes is if we're really clear on all these things, we're clear on, yep, I know what I want, and yep, I know how to get there. I've got the strategy, and the things I'm doing on a daily basis, they're small, they're bite-sized, they're manageable, it's achievable, but you're still procrastinating. I find that's because there's a fear. You've got a fear associated with the goal or the action, and you perceive that something negative is going to happen to you. Something like maybe, once I become a full-time trader, my family's going to hate me, or I'm going to get criticism from my friends, or I'm fearful of, when I quit my job, I'm not going to have that secure income, and that's going to put my family in like a really awkward situation. We might lose a house or whatever. You might have certain fears associated with either trading itself or with doing certain actions. There's certain negative associations with doing those things. And anything we perceive as negative, we typically want to avoid. We don't want to we don't want it in our space. We don't want to associate with it. We want to get away from it. But anything positive, we want to get close to it. And so I found people who procrastinate is because there's a fear in the way which is blocking them from doing that. And they actually want to get away from the action rather than into and doing the action. And that's more of like a mindset thing where it's looking at what the specific fear is, what your associations are with that, and rewiring your associations to actually neutralize those fears and actually not see it as something to avoid, but something which is actually going to help you with getting what you want, and removing what I call those mental blocks, which is blocking you from taking the action. So that could be something there as well, which I would say start with the clarity pieces first. And if there's anything there, then maybe what you could do is look into your fears. I've got some videos on my YouTube channel about fears, or you could just shoot me a message if you would actually like some help with some one-on-one coaching, which could actually look at diving deeper into those fears and clearing those out to help you with your trading journey. But that's basically it. That's all what's on my mind in terms of helping you with being more disciplined, being consistent, managing emotions, and procrastination as well. So I hope this video was useful, and to anyone else watching this. And if you watching this, you've got this far and you've got some problems, you've got some challenges, and you would like me to make you a video like this, then click the link in the description and I'll be more than happy to share my perspectives on that. So thanks for watching if you got this far. Leave a like if you like the video, Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Whatever you found most insightful, then feel free to leave a comment as well. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.